everybody's favorite tense, present perfect. Yeah. Present perfect is probably a good thing to learn with past perfect. Okay, do present perfect first and get used to present perfect. But you ought to understand that there's a very strong similarity between present perfect and past perfect. And what I mean is, just as there's a strong similarity between present simple, past simple, and present continuous, past continuous, there's a strong similarity between present perfect, past perfect. And we could look at that in another class. I have actually done a couple of classes on how to use present perfect and how to use past perfect. And in those videos, you'll find out that the same group of signal words are a signal for present or past perfect. Which one you choose really depends on whether you're speaking in present tenses, and if you are, you ought to use present perfect, or whether you're speaking in past tenses, in which case you probably need to use past perfect. And it's got a lot to do with reported speech as well, this, if you've studied that topic. We're going to look at what Murphy says about present perfect. And this is just after the chapter on past continuous, which we did last time. What does Murphy have to say about present perfect? And I think he does a good job here. I have lost my key. Tom is looking for his key. He can't find it. He has lost his key. He has lost his key means he lost it recently and he still doesn't have it. That's really important, that part. He still doesn't have it. When something is still the case, that's when we use present perfect. When we want to emphasize that something happened in the past, but it's got a really important result right now, that's when we use present perfect. So the present perfect is formed with have or has plus the past participle. The past participle often ends in ed, but if it's irregular, then it will be lost, done, written, known, spoken, broken. When we say that something has happened, this is usually new information. Ow, I have cut my finger. This has got a present result, guys. You're bleeding from it, yeah? And you want to let everybody know that, ow, I've cut it. Look, I have cut it means you can see the blood, yeah? It's got a result in the present, probably blood. But it's just like when you look out on the street and your car isn't there, but you expected it to be there, and you say, oh no, my car has been stolen. You need present perfect. You would not, never, there's not a single English person that would ever say my car was stolen in that situation. I promise that every single native speaker will always, always, always say my car has been stolen. So this is important, guys. It's probably the tense where there are more mistakes than anywhere else, yeah, with this particular tense. And the most common mistake is using past simple when it should be present perfect, when it must be present perfect. Let me give you another example of when people very often make a mistake with this present perfect. They say something like this. They say, did you watch that film? And it's wrong. No native speaker will ever say, did you watch that film? Unless they say yesterday or 3 days ago or last week or last month. Okay, if they have a time phrase there, they will use past simple. They must use past simple then, because if you know it happened at a specific moment, you must use past simple and you can't use present perfect. So you can say, did you watch that film yesterday? You can say, did you watch that film on January the 15th? And you can say, did you watch that film at 3:30? But if you're speaking generally and it's the first thing you're asking somebody, and what you really mean, you don't care when you're saying, have you ever seen this film? Then we say, have you watched Titanic? Yeah, have you seen Titanic? You can use either verb, see or watch, in that question. Have you seen Titanic? Have you watched Titanic? Even though we only say watch TV and not see TV. And we say watch a TV program and not see a TV program. But you can say, have you seen that film? And we very often do. Weird, eh? It doesn't seem to be logical, but there's a lot about language that isn't logical. So yeah, if you're asking if somebody has ever done something in their whole life, if it's not important which day it was, but you mean ever in your whole life, please use present perfect. That's exactly when you need present perfect. And that's why we say, have you been to Greece? You mean, have you ever been to Greece? It doesn't matter, last year, 5 years ago, it doesn't matter. Have you been to Greece? Yeah, have you seen the Colosseum? You mean, have you ever seen the Colosseum? Have you ever been up the Eiffel Tower? Yeah. Have you ever been up the Eiffel Tower? So if you're talking about somebody's whole life, it's got to be present perfect. But if you're talking about one moment and you've got a time expression as well, that's when you use past simple. Anyway, let's come back to the Murphy. The road is closed. There has been an accident. Look, you've got to say there has been because the result is here. The road is closed, yeah? You can, by the way, some of you might be thinking, can I say the road has been closed? Yes, you can. The road has been closed. There's been an accident. There's nothing wrong with that either. So both possible there. The road has been closed makes it sound like it's just happened and the result is there. The road is closed, it makes it sound more permanent and just a state. So there's little difference. There's not much, though. There's a little difference. When we use the present perfect, there is a connection with now. This is why we call it present perfect. It's kind of the present past tense, if you like, because it's something that happened in the past but has a very important result now. So where is your key? I don't know. I have lost it. I don't have it now. He told me his name, but I have forgotten it. I can't remember it now. You know, if you say he told me his name and I forgot it, maybe you've remembered it again now. But I have forgotten it makes it clear that you still don't remember it now. Is Sally here? No, she has gone out. Now, if you say, if I remember this happening actually a long time ago, my mum called me when I was in Moscow and my friend picked up the phone. And I had gone out. Notice the tense I used there. My friend picked up the phone and I had already gone out. And it was my mum. And my mum said, is Dave there? And my friend said, no, Dave went out. And so my mum asked, is Dave there? Yeah. She didn't know I wasn't there when my friend said, no, Dave went out. And that's because if Dave went out, maybe he came back. Yeah, but if Dave has gone out, he definitely hasn't come back. So that's why you've got to say here, guys, you've got to say it. She has gone out or he has gone out if he's not there at that time. Otherwise, it will sound like you might mean he went out and he's come back. Yeah, and so here he is. Okay, I can't find my bag. Have you seen it? Yeah. Do you know where it is now? Have you seen it? Yeah. Have you managed it? We're not talking about one moment. We're talking about, have you ever seen it really? You know, have you seen it at all today at any time? Okay, there is a subtle thing here, which is really confusing. He has gone to Italy means he is there now. But if you say, I have been to Italy, that normally means you've come back as well. And so you're just saying that's a fact that in your life, yes, at one moment you were in that country. It's not like he has gone to Italy where they are still there now. Okay, now he introduces the idea that you always use present perfect, or you ought to always use present perfect with just, already, yet. But I'm going to give you a few more words because obviously there are more. For and since are very, very useful signals for present perfect. If the period of time goes until now, then you need present perfect with for or since. For example, I have lived here for 3 years. Yeah, if you're still living in this place here, then have lived is necessary. I have worked here for 5 years. Yeah. If you're still working at that place, have worked is necessary. We have been married since we were 18. If you're still married, it's got to be have been. If you're not still married, it's got to be we were married until we were in our 30s and then we split up, then we divorced. Yeah, we were married, but then we divorced. But we have been married means you can't have got divorced. You must still be married. Yeah. I hope this is becoming clearer and clearer. So yeah, just it means a short time ago. Are you hungry? No, I have just had lunch. Has he just arrived? Have you just arrived? We use already to say that something happened sooner than expected. I've already paid it. Yeah, it just means something has already happened. He has already left. Has it stopped raining yet? Yet goes at the end of sentences. And we tend to use it for questions and negatives and already for positives. Okay, has it stopped raining yet? But it has already stopped raining. I have written the email, but I haven't sent it yet, but I have already sent it. Yeah. You can also use past simple in the examples of this page. So you can say, okay, well, it's telling you here, you can say this, but remember my story. Yeah, where you can say, no, she went out. But I mean, if you say that, it means that she might well have come back. And that's why we don't usually say this. To be really clear, we say, no, she has gone out, so she can't come to the phone or she can't come to the door. She has gone out. Yeah. This, I just had lunch. Okay, yeah, you do hear it sometimes, but I still think in formal academic English, stick with this rule for just, already, yet, and for the other present perfect signal words, simply because informal English is different from formal English. And in academic English, I think you really ought to obey the rules. Yeah. That's what academic English means, doesn't it? Really, it means obeying all of those irritating grammar rules. And so we're going to try to follow that approach on this channel. Okay, let's have a look at a few exercises now. So read the situations and write the sentences. I think all of those are present perfect, so I'll go past that one. We'll just quickly do this one. Would you like something to eat? No, I've just had lunch. Do you know where Julia is? Yes, I have just seen her. What time is David leaving? He has already left. What's in the newspaper today? I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Is Sue coming to the cinema with us? No, she has already seen the film. Are your friends here yet? Yes, they have just arrived. What time does Tim think? What does Tim think about your plan? We haven't told him yet. Okay, that one's quite easy. Let's come on to the next explanation. Okay, so again, we're talking about the idea that it's important now. You know, present perfect is kind of a mixture between something that happened in the past, but something that is important now. So have you ever eaten caviar? This has got to be have and eaten, because you mean, have you ever in your life? Did you eat caviar yesterday? Did you eat caviar last year? But you don't normally say that. You normally say, you won't normally want to know just at any moment in your life, have you ever eaten caviar? We have never had a car. Compare with we never have a car, which would be wrong, actually. You know, when you want to say in all of my life, I have never owned a car. And this is true for me. I have never owned a car. And it just means that I have never possessed a car. I've never bought a car. I have never been able to drive. So certainly I have never had a car. And you need present perfect because you mean in all my life. And that's why you don't use present simple. This isn't something that's true well, I mean, to a certain degree it is, you know, it is true every day, every week, every month that I don't have a car. But I don't want to say about the future. I don't know about the future. And the thing is with present simple is it sounds permanent. It sounds like, you know, when you say I play football every Saturday, that sounds like it's going to continue indefinitely into the future as well. And so if you say I never have a car, you know, that sounds like for your whole life, maybe you never have a car. And I don't know that for sure. So for something like this, it's got to be present perfect again and not present simple. I have never had a car. Yeah. If we take never in a few other situations, like if you say something like this, I never read the Daily Mail. Yeah, the Daily Mail is the most famous or the most well-read newspaper in the world. And if I say I never read the Daily Mail, that means forever. I never read the Daily Mail. If I say I have never read the Daily Mail, I am emphasizing that not once in my life have I picked up that pile of rubbish. Now, unfortunately, it's not true, but I have read the Daily Mail. But I have never read it means not once in my life. Have you read Hamlet? So have you ever read Hamlet? No, I haven't read any Shakespeare. That's a shame. It's an interesting story. Susan really loves that film. She has seen it 8 times. Now, this is something I really want to emphasize. If you say how many times something has happened, it really is better to use present perfect. You need present perfect when you say how many times. So if I want to say, I have read this book 3 times, you need have read and not I read. Yeah, I have read it 3 times. I have been to Greece twice. I have watched Titanic 3 times. Yeah, notice I'm not saying when. And that's another reason why I need present perfect. But this is something that's happened many, many times in my life, in my whole life. So that's why if you say how many times, present perfect is usually required. Okay, what a boring film. It's the most boring film I have ever seen in my whole life. Yeah. And remember, been to means visited. I've never been to China. Don't say I've never gone to China. It's not really right. I've never been to China. But if you say he has gone to China, that means he's still in China now. Okay, these words are also present perfect signal words. Since, yeah, since and for. So far, because so far means so far today. In the last few days, because that's a period of time that continues from the past until now. And recently, again, it's a period of time that continues until now. So have you heard anything from Brian recently? I've met a lot of people in the last few days, have met. Everything is going well. We haven't had any problems so far. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten anything since breakfast, and we haven't seen each other for a long time. Look out for the signal words, and it does make this grammar much easier. So today, this evening, and this year are unfinished periods of time. And because they're unfinished periods of time, I mean, when you say today, you mean from midnight until now, yeah? You mean all of today, all of the 11th of August. And so the 11th of August isn't finished yet. And so you've got to use present perfect when you use today, or we very often do. For example, I have drunk 4 cups of coffee today. I've only drunk 2 cups. Have you had a holiday this year? No, I haven't. I haven't seen Tom this morning. Have you seen Tom this morning? Yeah. And Rob hasn't worked very hard this term. The term's not finished yet. The morning's not finished yet. The year's not finished yet. And the day isn't finished yet. And that's why we need present perfect. Okay, Don is having a driving lesson. It's his first one. It's the first time he has ever driven a car. Because you mean in his whole life, it's the first time he has driven before. He has never driven a car before, yeah, in his whole life. This is true for me. So Sarah has lost her passport again. This is the second time this has happened. So we know how many times she has lost it twice. Yeah, that's why we need present perfect, because she has lost it again. She has lost it twice. If you know that it happened a number of times, you probably need present perfect. So that's the third time he has phoned her this evening. Okay, so I hope this is all getting easier. Have they got a good example here? So these are all just present perfect, and I'd rather give you an exercise on present perfect versus past simple rather than look at that. We'll look at that on another class, just because I think that that's interesting, but it's for later. For, since, when, and how long. Yeah, when is usually past simple. It's not only, and I can think of one situation when you use when and present perfect, but it's in future time clauses. Okay, in future time clauses, you do see when and present perfect. But in most situations, if you're talking about the past anyway, and not the future, and you use when, then you need past simple. So when did it start raining? It started raining an hour ago. We know a specific time. If we know a specific time, past simple. How long has it been raining? It's been raining for an hour, since 1 o'clock. So we don't have a specific time here, a moment in time. We have a period of time. Periods of time are present perfect. Moments in time, like the 11th of July or 3 o'clock or yesterday, they are past simple. But periods of time for 1 hour since I was 18, they are present perfect if they're unfinished periods of time. Okay, when did Joe and Carol first meet? They met a long time ago. They met when they were at school. So past simple, past simple. How long have they known each other? They have known each other for a long time. They have known each other since they were at school. Okay, so that's a very important part there that you need to look out for the signal words. It will make your lives much easier. Okay. You mean have had? Yeah, well, have had is the verb to have in present perfect, just like I have had this shed for about 3 or 4 years. Yeah, I have had, I have possessed, I have owned. And certainly you can see more than 2 haves together in a sentence. I think I do a video where I talk about 14 hads together in one sentence. And so please have a look at that video if you want to confuse yourself with how many times we can use have together with other haves in a sentence. So let's have a look at this. Tom is looking for his key. He has lost his key. Now Tom has found his key. Look, it's in his hand. Has he lost his key? No, he has found it. Did he lose his key? Yes, he did. Okay, I find that a little bit too confusing. I don't know if that's helping you. But if you say they have gone away, they'll be back on Friday. They are away now. If you say they went away, but they're back at home now, you see, you use past simple if it's already been reversed and they're back at home. You only use present perfect if it's still true now. So it has stopped raining now. And by the way, we often use present perfect with the word now because that shows you that there's an important result in the present. So I've repaired the washing machine. It's working now, for example. Sally has had. Look, there's that present perfect, has had. There's 2 haves together. Sally has had a baby. It's a boy. That's great news. So we've got the present result here, guys. The baby has been born. Okay, it's working now. Okay, I repaired the washing machine. It's working now. I do prefer I have repaired. It's far more common. And so even though Murphy will say sometimes, oh, yeah, this is all right, I do sometimes think, well, yeah, but in anything academic, it wouldn't be okay. You would be expected to use present perfect. So don't think of present perfect as something that's superfluous, unnecessary, something that you don't really need to be understood. Although I do agree, you don't really need present perfect to be understood, but you do need present perfect to be thought of as a good speaker. I mean, seriously, it's just part of the language, and ignoring it is like ignoring something massive in your own grammar, in your own language, yeah? I mean, like ignoring, this is a whole tense, and if you're never using it, you will sound mistaken many, many, many times, yeah? You will be mistaken many, many, many times, and so it's an important tense to learn. Okay, let's keep going, just because I get so many questions about this tense, and it is the hardest one to teach, if I'm honest. Let's try an exercise, because it's the best way to learn. So he's always got lovely pictures in Murphy. He has got some good illustrations. I can't get in. I have lost my key, and there's a present result. Look, I can't find it. I have lost my key. The office is empty now. Everybody has gone home. Look, nobody's there. Everybody has gone home, and they are still at home. I meant to call you last night, but I forgot. Now, we're going to use past simple here, yeah? Past simple. Why do we use past simple here, but we use present perfect here and present perfect here? Well, here it's important. It's got a present result. I can't find it. I'm looking in my pockets and I still can't find it. I have lost it. Here, everybody has gone home, because you can see, we don't say when they went home, and you can see that it's still got a present result. They're not in the office. Excuse me. I meant to call you last night, but I forgot. Now, why do we need forgot here and not have forgotten? Because last night. Yeah, if you know when and it's a specific moment in the past, use past simple. Helen went to Egypt for a holiday. Now, why do I use past simple? Because she's back home in England now. So I can't say Helen has gone to Egypt, because that means she's still in Egypt. Just like everybody has gone home, that means everybody is still at home. But she's back at home in England now, so she went to Egypt. Are you okay? Yes, I had a headache. Now, why is it past simple? Because he's fine now. It hasn't got a present result, this one. He's fine. It's changed, yeah? So, yes, I had a headache, but I'm fine now. If you say I have had a headache, you still have one, and you have had a headache maybe all day. Can you help us? Now, look, they've got a present result. The car is not working, so our car has broken down. Yeah, it's got to be has broken down because the present result there. Okay, so let's see if we can correct the incorrect sentences. How many poems has William Shakespeare written? This is totally wrong, because William Shakespeare is dead. If you say how many poems has he written, it sounds like he's alive. Yeah, he's not, he's dead. And so anyone who's dead, if you're talking about anything that a dead man did, it will not be something a dead man has done. Because if you talk about what a dead man has done, that dead man is walking around and doing things right now in the present. This is why this has got to be how many poems did he write? Yeah, did William Shakespeare write? I hope that's nice and clear. Ow, I've cut my finger, it's bleeding. This is correct, because it's got a present result, the blood. Drugs have become a big problem everywhere. This is correct, because it's got a problem. It's the problem now, and they have become a problem everywhere, and so you've got a present result. Now, who has invented paper? Paper was invented a long time ago and not in the present. So we've got to say who invented and not who has invented. Past simple. Who invented paper? Same when you're asking something like this. You need past simple. Because to be born only happened it happened a long time ago and it's finished. So where were you born? Yeah. Ellie isn't at home. She has gone shopping. She's still shopping now. Albert Einstein is dead. So Albert Einstein was the scientist who developed the theory of relativity. Past simple, please, for anyone dead. It stopped raining for a while, but now it's raining again. Okay, let's come down to number 3. I studied German at school, but I have forgotten most of it now. And that now means it's got to be I have forgotten, because it's got a present result. The police arrested 3 people, but later they let them go. Now, this must be past simple because they are not still arrested. What do you think of my English? Do you think it has improved? Is there a present result? Has it got better? Has it improved? Are you still reading the paper? No, I have finished with it. You can have it. Have finished, because here, look, here it is in my hand. You can have it. I applied for a job as a tourist guide, but I wasn't successful. So because it wasn't successful, not I have applied, but it's going to be I applied. It's past simple. Where is my bike? It was outside the house, but it's not there now. It has disappeared. Something like that. It has disappeared. It was outside my house, but it's not there now. So we just need it was outside my house, past simple here, and not it has been outside my house, because that sounds like it's still outside the house, but it's not there now. It has been stolen, maybe, or it has disappeared, certainly. Quick, we need to call an ambulance. There has been an ambulance, an accident. Yeah, I can see the ambulance, and so definitely present perfect. There has been an accident. Have you heard about Ben? He has broken his arm, yeah, and it's still broken. It's in plaster. Really? How did that happen? And not how has that happened? How did that happen? Because we're asking about details, and it probably happened yesterday or the day before. Yeah, we just say, how did that happen? Because we're giving the details, you know, he's not still falling off a ladder. He fell off a ladder. Okay. I'm losing my voice now, guys, so that's going to have to be enough for today. But I hope that that's helped you with present perfect and past simple. It's a really important topic because there are more mistakes with that than with a lot of other tenses. And I think people it's even really hard to understand people when they don't use present perfect properly. I'm not moaning or complaining. I'm warning that I've just heard loads of people say something like this. They say, Americans don't use present perfect. That's a lie, or it's not a lie, but it's certainly a misunderstanding. They do use present perfect, and it's not hard to find examples. But because they don't always with just or already, neither do Brits, by the way, because they don't always, people assume that means that they can just forget about present perfect. But I guarantee you won't sound good. It won't sound good if you use past simple when you should use present perfect, and people will even misunderstand you sometimes just because they're expecting the have form, and then you suddenly hit them without the have or with a did or something like that. And because it often means the opposite, like my example of when my friend said Dave went out. My mum didn't understand. She was expecting Dave has gone out. And so when she heard Dave went out, that sounds like you're going to say Dave went out and he's back already. Yeah. So please do pay attention to the differences between these two tenses, and you will be able to use them correctly. Just get speaking classes, have speaking classes and have someone correct you when you make mistakes. That's how you get better. I think especially with foreign language practice, you need speaking classes in the sense of if it rolls off your tongue correctly, it will roll off your pen correctly very easily. And so, of course, we all need speaking practice to make sure that we become spontaneous with a lot of this grammar. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. I do appreciate all of your support.